Hello everybody. How is personnel psychology today? So let's get started. We're transitioning now, and this represents kind of a transition from a lot of conceptual and legal and fairness doctrines, that we discussed at the beginning of the class, to the nuts and bolts. So I want to provide first an overview to this module because I think it helps orient us and helps us establish kind of an understanding of the big picture. So on the next slide is a flow chart, and we're more like what I would call a systems model than a flow chart, and there's differences, but not important enough for our discussion, right? This is for the selection paradigm. That is, paradigm meaning the way things are done, right? The constellation of techniques that are employed for excellent personnel selection. So modules 2.1 through 2.3 they explore the top three boxes in the model. The big picture explanations follow for each, right? So the next four boxes are the fodder for consumption in module 3. So again, take this kind of as a conceptual overview of where we're going. And what we see here then is right at the beginning is job analysis, and that's what we're going to be talking about in 2.1 and 2.11 as an example. And there's assignments tied to it as well. But job analysis yields, right, a good understanding of the job and what it requires. From an understanding of what the job requires, then we can begin to say what kind of person would do this job well, or what kind of person might not do the job as well. So person specifications are the translation of what's done into how is it done, essentially, or what qualities, knowledge, skills, abilities are necessary to get it done well. And then from that, once we understand that, hey, this is the job, and this is what's needed to do the job well, then we can ask the question for attracting candidates, where are we most likely to find candidates that would demonstrate an ability to do this well, right? And then we go through. Now, we get back to nuts and bolts here in understanding psychometric properties. That is, when we do testing, and some of these will be psychometric tests, most of them fall under that title, right? We have to understand what constitutes a valid test or an invalid test, a reliable test versus an unreliable test, and many other aspects of testing. And this is where we trained psychologists really kind of have a leg up, because this is what we do and this is what we consider is testing. That is evaluating people in given contexts, right? From the understanding then yields our ability to design or select good assessment tools, right? Now, some we will select because they're pre-packaged and available to us. No need to, cliche time, reinvent the wheel if there exists a good test for what we're looking for in a candidate. But sometimes we may find it necessary to design our own tests. And again, our background in both research methods and statistics should help with that. And then administering and scoring the test, that is, what is the actual process that an applicant might move through is going to look like. And then once we have test scores, what do we have to do? We have to interpret those test scores in some meaningful way. Again, statistics. And then ultimately this will yield our hiring decision. So what are we up against here? Well, for module 2, right? We're in 2.0 right now, so we're just looking at the overview. We're going to go to 2.1, where we get to the nuts and bolts of job analysis and look at myriad techniques to do job analysis. Homework 4 will come out of 2. Homework 5, right, is going to come out of 2.11 in part, and you can see the due dates there. Person specifications are going to yield our homework 6 and homework 7, and that's going to be due towards about a month out, believe it or not. And then from when I'm taping this, I don't know when you're viewing it, so I guess that was a silly thing for me to say. All right, we'll talk some about attracting candidates, and then recruiting needs assessment. That is, how many people do we need, what type of people do we need, etc. Again, back to the concept of needs assessment. So let's take those top 3 boxes that we discussed and just flesh them out a little bit, just a little definition. Job analysis, it's the study of what the job holder does on the job, and what must be known in order to do it, what resources are used in doing the job, and perhaps the conditions under which the job is done. So really it's just trying to paint an accurate picture of the job and what's necessary to do the job. Okay. Now, person specifications then, job analysis properly conducted gave us the idea of the position's features, requirements, and that's what is done. Person specification is the process of translating those into the knowledge, skills, and abilities and other characteristics that are thought desirable or necessary to achieve the requirements that the job analysis yielded. So, what is needed to get it done? So, again, job analysis, what is done, person specifications, what qualities in the person make it likely that the job will get done well, will be done in excellent fashion. And then recruiting, finally, efficient, fruitful recruiting attempts to understand, right, where the applicants with the most desirable person specifications are likely to be found. There's a reason that, like auto manufacturers they put up displays, they put up tables, information booths outside the engineering department at OSU, because they know, look, these are the jobs that we need to fill. And these are the people who are most likely to possess the qualities that will fill those jobs well, that can do the function. So they park it outside of engineering. I don't think that Ford needs to park it outside psychology, because we have a lot of knowledge, skills, and abilities in psychology, but not necessarily what Ford, especially the engineering divisions, are looking for, right? So, the recruiting message, activities should be designed to attract the best candidates, and again, back to honestly and fairly, right? So these should be race and gender neutral, mechanisms that are employed to attract the candidates. And that's about it. So ever onward, we're going to go straight into, I'm going to go straight into 2.1 now, and we'll see how that works out. So prepare for job analysis, and I'll talk to you guys later. Hi, Lexi.